Following on from last week's video looking at the 10 best classic spy films, this week we're looking at the best spy movies made between 1990 and present day. Please note that we're only including one film per franchise. Number 10, True Lies. If you can ignore the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger is probably the last person who should be cast as a guy so ordinary seeming that even his wife doesn't know he's actually a secret agent, there's a lot of fun to be had in James Cameron's light-hearted and explosion-heavy thriller. Sandwiched between Terminator 2 and Titanic, it can't help but feel a little bit minor by Cameron's standards, but the film still packs enough action and comedy to keep its audience entertained. Number 9, Black Book. Karis Van Houten stars as Rachel, a Jewish woman who survives a massacre at the hands of the SS that kills the rest of her family. Falling in with the Dutch resistance, she agrees to go undercover in an attempt to undermine the Nazis. In the confusion of violence and betrayal that follows, Rachel finds some of her assumptions challenged and her life imperiled. It's a tale depicting the thrills of espionage and a harrowing pursuit that puts spies in constant danger of losing their lives. Number 8, Zero Dark 30.
Is he supposed to limp like that? Get your hand out of your pocket. Hey. Allahu Akbar. Hey! Get your hand out of your pocket! Hey. No! Allahu Akbar.
Kathryn Bigelow delivered a masterful, understated spy drama with Zero Dark 30. The film chronicles the CIA's sweeping hunt of Osama bin Laden and the toll it took on the obsessive operatives behind the mission. Jessica Chastain's stunning lead performance as Maya earned her a well-deserved Best Actress nomination and a straight shot to stardom. But Zero Dark 30 is the farthest thing from a glitzy Hollywood espionage thriller. Instead, Bigelow tones down the glamour in favour of a more honest look at the dreary reality of espionage.
Down.
Number 7, Mission Impossible Fallout. The Mission Impossible series pivoted from being a trilogy with just one great film to an all-conquering action juggernaut over the course of the 2010s. But it's easy to forget that while you're watching Tom Cruise fling himself about on the Burj Khalifa and the side of aeroplanes that he's supposed to be a spy. In arguably the best of all the Mission Impossible films, he has to stop terrorists cobbling together nuclear bombs with stolen plutonium, with Cruise once again undertaking all the staggering stunts himself, including the highly praised Halo jump sequence. Number 6, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Just on the off chance you were back from Berlin.
What did you say?
Hello, Mrs. Smiley. It's Jerry Westerby from the office. Just that there'd been a bit of a crisis. Anne said you wasn't back yet, and that was it.
Go on.
John le Carré's densely plotted novels can be tricky to condense into feature-length films, which may explain why they'd sometimes had better luck on TV than on the big screen. This Thomas Alfredson adaptation demands close attention. The film brilliantly captures the criss-cross loyalties and hidden agendas of le Carré's fiction, with Gary Oldman's performance as George Smiley being one of his best to date.
I want to talk about loyalty, Toby. Control recruited you, didn't he? Found you starving in a museum in Vienna. A wanted man.
Number 5, Argo.
There are only bad options. It's about finding the best one.
You don't have a better bad idea than this?
This is the best bad idea we have, sir. By far.
Based on a true story, Argo follows a film crew who had to help bust some American hostages out of Tehran, where they pretend to make a fake sci-fi fantasy adventure Star Wars ripoff called Argo and smuggle in some Canadian passports. Whilst it's a fantastic spy thriller, it manages to bend towards being a heist caper too, with some top turns from Ben Affleck, John Goodman, Bryan Cranston, and particularly Alan Arkin as the cantankerous veteran film producer.
Copy Diaz. Confirm the tickets. Go!
Number 4, Munich.
I want you to give me proof that everyone we killed had a hand in Munich.
I don't discuss such things with people who don't exist. You want to discuss? Come back to existence. You want your daughter to grow up in exile.
I want evidence.
On the surface, Steven Spielberg's Munich is about the aftermath of Black September, a terrorist attack on the 1972 Olympics that left 11 Israelis dead. Beyond the surface story, the Best Picture nominated film dives deeper to examine relative truth, failure to communicate, and the cost of waging an unwinnable eternal war. Munich follows a team of spies and assassins assembled to seek retribution for the deaths of their countrymen. Based on a true story, the film is an approximation of history at best, but in telling the particularly fictionalized version of the tale, Spielberg broaches deeper truths with a cinematic flair.
What do I do?
Do you know why we're here?
Number 3, The Bourne Ultimatum.
Tie your shoe right now. Tie your shoe.
Wait. Wait.
In 2002, the same year Bond reached his highs of implausibility while driving around in an invisible car in Die Another Day, Doug Liman's The Bourne Identity opened and blew the tired tropes of the weightless gadget-driven 007 franchise out of the water. When it returned, it wouldn't look anything like that again. Liman's film paved the way, but it was arguably subsequent Bourne director Paul Greengrass who really consolidated the new action aesthetic of the handheld camera work that lent a nervy realist immediacy to even the most tortuous of plot turns, with Ultimatum arguably the best of the bunch. Number 2, Casino Royale. While Skyfall is arguably the better action film of the modern Bond entries, Casino Royale is by far the better spy movie. Skyfall has a more glamorous, Hollywood-esque feel to it, whereas Casino Royale feels more restrained, where the action's more raw, the cinematography more gritty, and it showcased a far darker side to Bond himself. And whilst Mads Mikkelsen isn't quite on par with Javier Bardem, he's still a damn good villain. Full of fantastic action sequences, a newer version of the classic Aston Martin, and unbelievably high stakes, this is easily one of the best Bond films to date. Before we reveal our number 1 pick, here are some honourable mentions that just missed the list. Lust Caution.
Hello.
Kingsman.
Are we going to stand around here all day? Or are we going to fight?
Bridge of Spies. Tenet.
If you're not telling the truth, she dies.
Ronin. Spy Game.
Name Redshirt. He's responsible for the western flank of the upcoming Saigon offensive. His name?
Don't need a name, sir.
Number 1, The Lives of Others.
Wenn Sie uns den Namen des Fluchthelfers nicht nennen, muss ich noch heute Nacht Ihre Frau verhaften lassen. Jan und Nadja kommen in eine staatliche Erziehungsanstalt. Wollen Sie das?
A perfect companion piece to Coppola's The Conversation, this Oscar-winning German film is just as quietly explosive. Ulrich Mühe stars as Verstaat's the officer, listening in on a Berlin playwright's apartment. Slowly but surely, the government and its officials make a series of ethical missteps which results in characters turning rogue. These in turn worsen the political situation, leading to a behind-closed-doors game of cat and mouse. As with the best spy movies, the stakes here are sky high, making a compelling chase thriller. But all the work comes from below the surface, where the cogs never cease to turn.
Diese Schwelle scheint mir nicht ganz koscher. Könnte es ein Geheimfach sein?
Thank you.